Hello and welcome back into Law Call. We have a guest joining us. This is Steve Jones. Hey Steve, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see y'all on the TV again.
Yeah.
Hey Steve, glad you could join us.
Good to see you. I appreciate y'all having me on. Ken, I thought your advice for employment law was spot on there in regards to what employers or employees need to be doing. I thought that was good advice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Steve. And for those of y'all who don't know Steve, Steve's been on the show a number of times. He practices and focuses his practice, generally speaking, on bankruptcy. And we brought Steve on tonight to talk about, is this a situation, Steve, that where folks are getting a little bit further behind? Is it time to pull the trigger on bankruptcy, or are there some things that they can do, and maybe you can help them with to delay that a little bit and see what happens, with the economy and with the job market and those types of things. So I appreciate you coming back on the show and talking with us with safe distance, and I hope you'll be able to answer some of the questions. I guess I don't know if we have a caller segment this time. We do.
I'm not sure.
Okay, but anyway, thank you, Steve. And before we get started, I wanted to follow up because Angie had a question about child support arrearage and the stimulus money. I was able to, this is a live show, I was able to text Catherine Gentle, who was on a couple of weeks ago, and what she tells me is there's no clear picture, but the IRS, the IRS would have no way, for example, of knowing whether or not there was an arrearage, unless the DHR or some state agency put them on notice of that arrearage. And likewise, if you were to receive if your ex-husband were to receive a stimulus check from the government wouldn't have any way to know and stop that payment or direct it somewhere else. So the common thread of thought right now is that stimulus money would go directly to that person.
The person who applied for it.
Right, and it wouldn't go to arrearage. But anyway, Steve, that doesn't have anything to do with bankruptcy, and I guess, have we got some callers?
I'm not, is Steve going to be able to hear these callers? Because I'm not 100% on that. So while we're waiting on that.
I can hear y'all,
Okay,
and
so
Ken,
Steve,
I tell you what.
Steve, let me ask you, what kind of calls are you getting in your office? What kind of things are you seeing pop up that are obviously related to the shutdown that we're involved in?
Well, people are concerned about their mortgage payments and car payments and what to do with that stimulus check. And, the bankruptcy judges and the governor and the state court judges, I mean, they are going to slow down anything to do with foreclosing on houses or evicting people. But as Ken was saying about employment law, the law is the law. And most of these, not so much the mortgage companies, those are, big conglomerate companies, but most of the renters in the Jefferson County, Shelby County area, they're just regular folks renting a house. And, they probably have a mortgage on that house, and they're paying using the rent to pay the mortgage. So, yes, you probably can avoid paying your mortgage payment and your rent, and your car payment and a number of other payments for a couple of months. But one day the law is the law, and the judges are going to be very lenient. But that stimulus check people are getting, you've got to use that in a wise way. You're also going to get calls from the smaller loan companies that are just trying to make ends meet themselves, and frankly, those are the folks who really can't do a whole lot to you without filing a lawsuit. So if they're calling you in a month or two and saying, we're going to garnish your wages or put a lien on your checking account, they've got to go through some hoops to do that. But I think you're probably okay for a couple of months. But at some point, as Ken was saying, the law is the law, and you've got to be able to give a good reason down the road in maybe May, June, July as to why you're behind on your house or your car. And bankruptcy or debtor's court, people think that they hear that and they think, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my car. No. If you file bankruptcy or especially debtor's court, that is the way to save your house and to save your car and stop the punishment. That is a way to slow all those calls down and all that drama down. It puts a stop to that, and you can save everything you have right now, even if you're not working right now, you're on furlough, or you're getting less hours, or you're just living on that, these poor old folks that are working at restaurants and doing hair and doing nails. I mean, they're not making any money. So they need to use that money they're getting, I guess, to pay the utility bills.
So is it your recommendation, though, for folks, if they can't make their rent or their mortgage payments, to contact their lender or their landlord and explain their situation, to at least put them on notice, I guess, that, hey, I've lost my job, or I'm on furlough, or whatever their financial situation is right now?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's going to be a good faith thing. If you're someone who's working and you're still making money, don't think you can, because the governor said we're going to stop people from paying rent. I mean, if you're still making money, go ahead and pay your landlord and your mortgage payment and all your bills. But yes, ma'am, call them and tell them, listen, I'm not working. I've got this stimulus check, and I'll catch it up. And I would hope that your landlord or mortgage company, I know your mortgage company, because I know in bankruptcy court the bankruptcy judges are pretty much not allowing what are called motions for relief to go forward at the foreclosure when someone's in bankruptcy. I know that sounds kind of complicated. To go forward, they're making those are just put on hold right now.
Okay.
But down the road, you got to pay the piper. And
Sure.
as Ken said, the law is the law, and you got to have a good reason in June and July as to why you didn't make your mortgage payment. And it could come to the point, where they're not going to just agree to let you be 2, 3, 4 months behind. I mean,
Right.
These smaller mortgage companies and loan companies,
Yeah.
they've got to make a living too. They've got
Hey, Stephen,
stockholders.
I hate to cut you off. We so do appreciate you joining us and by phone to talk to us for a few minutes. We've got to go to a break, but thank you so much again, Stephen Jones, for joining us again this evening to talk to us, just to shed some light on
Thanks,
what's
Steve.
going on right now. He's over in Birmingham, Bessemer rather. You can call his office at 205-428-2110 or shjlaw.info.